Hey YouTubers, Don's Trains and More here. Today I am changing out the coils on my 2.2 liter Chevrolet S10. I've not seen too many videos out there that actually give you a good reference of how to change out this coil. So I thought I'd make a video for everybody else, showing what I did. If you look right here on my coil, I actually made a reference. I put some white nail polish for number 2 and some pink nail polish for number 3 because the new coils, which are right here, they do not have any numbers on them. And some of you say, well, you know, it's not that big of a deal, there's only 2 wires. Well, you're right, it's not that big of a deal. But I would rather be safe than sorry, because if you put them on there wrong, you're going to get confused, taking them off, putting them back on again, and the whole 9 yards. So I'd just assume make a reference mark. The screw that holds these to the block is a 5.5 millimeter. So we're going to take them off and go from there, and then we'll see how well we get this off of there. So we take this wire off here. I've already taken them off, as you can see they're pretty loose, and then take this one off. Then you got a screw here, and you got a screw right there. So probably take the inside one off first. Free. This. Not yet, huh? That's a poker of a place to put a screw, that's for sure. Not yet, huh? Oh boy. Alright, well, let's take that one off. See if we get that. How long the screws are? They're pretty long because it's pretty thick. Must have got this coming off now. I'm going to move you around a little bit here because doing this is really just not an easy task. Take you a little closer. There you go, just like that. Stay in the room. Give you a close-up shot of it. So if you're wondering, these are on the left side of your engine block, or the passenger side, and they sit just a little bit further back. There's one screw. So they're pretty long screws, that's for sure. That's probably out of there. I just got the coil off now. And this coil's just coming off of there. There we go, just like that. Alright, now I see how we got this. Okay, that's pretty easy. That wasn't too bad, was it now? And there's where your blade goes. Oh, okay, I see. That's how it gets its power. So, if you look right here, these 2 blades right here, that is actually how your coils power up. Get this out of the way. There you go, right there. Those 2 blades is how your coil powers up. So your new package comes with a new one of these, which would be just a what do you call it? Like a rubber isolator between the block and the coil, so you don't short the coil out. So probably a good idea to change the one that's on there, because it's probably pretty raggedy. I've been on there. I gotta get something to get that off with, because I don't have anything right here in front of me that I can use to get that off with. So I'll be back in a moment. All right. What we're gonna do is just dig this out of here a little bit. Just like that. That's the old. I want the off of the old and in with the new, right? How it goes. I gotta get off that wire right there. I'm sure that wire. I think that's my stereo wire there. All right. Just like that. See that? That's pretty cool, huh? Let me put the new one back on. I guess I gotta put that screw in there first. Yeah. Be a lot easier to put that in there now. And the weight to do it. So you want to be cool on your stool doing this. You don't want to just force it in there. You want to be nice and gentle with it. Just like that. There we go. Last thing you want to do is break something going in there. The other one might be a little bit tougher to get to. It's just a little bit tougher location. It's easy to jack the truck up and take the wheel off to do it instead of trying to fight with it. You don't want to get in that kind of a situation. You want to just make it as simple as possible for yourself. I've seen some folks do it from underneath the hood, but I don't see how that's possible. That just could be me though too. I mean, I'm 6'3", so this is an S10. This is not my full size, which I have a full size of 3/4 ton as well. So you want to make sure these are snug. Don't over tighten them. They're just 1/4" bolts, or right around that area. 5.5 millimeter is the head on them, but you don't want to make them too tight. You break them off, and you're going to have a world of hurt on your problems in your day there. So when you're doing them, don't go too tight. Just be gentle with it. You know, you'll feel when it snugs up, and then just stop. You know, some folks, you know, they think they need to tighten the hell out of things, and they put so much torque into it that you're liable to break something off. So try not to do that. They give you some dielectric grease to go in there as well, and I suggest you use it. It's a good idea to help them when the plug wires seat up on that on those terminals. It just puts you a little bit like this right here, and a little right there, and it also helps keep the moisture out as well when you're driving. And you don't want to have to deal with that as well. So here's your number 3 right there. You put it right like this. I can feel it pop on there. I guess it just popped because it didn't go on no further, but that's once it pops. And the nail polish just comes right off. There's your number 2. Do the same with it. Look, a little more grease on that one. Must have hit it or something and knocked it off. A little grease on there. A little dielectric grease. And there's your number 2 right there. That goes on just like that. And that's it. That's how you do them. There's your number 2 and your number 3. I guess you could just bring this up around this way. Might be easier. There we go. Just like that. Get them out of the way. Alright, so now you got your number 1 and your number 2. And we're going to do the same with that one, which I'm pretty sure you can see that it's right there. Right there. We're going to see if we can get this harness out of the way. Well, can't get it too far away, but that's as far as I can go with it. Right there probably. That's where you enough. You can see it right there. That's number 1 and number 4. And we're going to do the same thing with those. I'm going to mark the wires as a reference so I know where they go. And mark the coil as well. Let me just take some excess off here. There we go. So, and mark that one like that. And mark that one right there. Not that I need to mark that one anyway, because I'm going to mark the new coil. And then just give it a few minutes for the coil to dry up. I mean, for the what do you call it? Yeah, that stuff there. That stuff. Give it a little while for it to dry up. Yeah. You don't have to get in a rush to do this. Just take your time. Do it right the first time. My wife might get mad at me for using this stuff, but she's got like, I don't know, 15 million colors inside. So I said, well, I don't think she mind if I use one. So that's what I did. I'm using one because that's, you know. Alright, so there's number 4. We put that one right there. And we put that right there just in case we forget. I know it's only 4 wires. I get it. But I have been known to forget stuff. I remember years ago I just yanked all the plug wires off my truck, and that's back when I was young and dumb. Now I'm old and bold. But I just yanked them off and didn't think nothing about it because I didn't know any better, and I went to put them back on, and man, sure enough, I put them all on there backwards. The truck ran for about 30 seconds, then shut down. Just stupid stuff like that you don't need to do. You can save yourself the trouble and do it right the first time. Don't get in a rush about it. Don't think you have to get it done right away. Just go slow. It makes it a lot better for you. You'll appreciate it a lot more when you do it the right way instead of doing it the wrong way. I know plenty of guys that, in the job I'm in now, I'm a diesel technician, and they're all about heat and hammer, and I'm just learned not to do it that way no more. I just learned not to do it like that. I just, try to do a little bit different now. The thing of it is, what you want to do is you want to work smart, not hard. And I don't mean that in a way to be lazy. I'm just saying you want to work smart in what you're doing. Think about what you're doing before you do it, and then tackle it with the right tools. The biggest thing that really drives people crazy or does them in when they're working on something is they don't have the right tools before they start the job. And then they get frustrated because they try and use everything in their toolbox to do something you're not using the right stuff. And because you're not using the right stuff, it creates a problem. So you can save yourself a headache and do it the right way the first time, and it'll make things a lot simpler the second time around, or when you do it the first time. It's just one of those things. Okay, there's a screw there. That's just my experience of what I've dealt with over years. Working in the shop, I've been a technician most of my life, and I just try to do things differently nowadays. I'm going to set this right on top of your head right there. So you see that thing right there on top of you? That's what it is. It's right on top of your head. Sorry about that. I've done plenty of jobs before where I've rushed into it and think I had to do it this way or had to do it that way, and man, it's just easier not to have to deal with it in some foolish way. Just do it right the first time. Take your time, go slow. There's no rush. You want to get it done, so you have to pull this whole thing apart again. I mean, that's the goal. And like I said, I haven't seen too many videos out there. I haven't seen too many. I've seen 2.2s, but not. I think I've only seen one video on the 2.2 for an S10. Everything else has been 2.2 for Cavaliers. Boy, that terminal is pretty nasty right there. Gee, that thing's pretty rusty. So this may or may not be a problem. If you look at that terminal, you see how kind of rusted it is, and that can create a problem going down the road. The problem I've been having with my truck is when I turn my air conditioner on and I'm driving it, I've got it in first gear, whatever it is, whatever gear I'm in, it pops. And I'm thinking it's going to either be I've got a coil problem or I've got a manifold absolute pressure sensor problem. I just really couldn't put my finger on it just yet. And I didn't test these, but the truck's got 210,000 miles on it, and the guy before me that I bought it from really did not do anything to take care of the truck, as far as I can tell. It had its issues, and lots of them. You know, the plugs, he told me the plugs were just changed. I pulled the plugs out, man, they were worn down to the gills. And I said, well, they certainly weren't just changed. So rather than, you know, taking a chance with it, I just go ahead and we'll drop that. Change it out and do what needs to be done to it. That's all. For me, I drive my truck about 110 miles a day. I work 55 miles from the house one way, and yeah, see this one I just took off has got a crack around the isolator. I didn't even notice that. So this is probably the original coils right here. There's no GM markings on it, but I'm pretty certain that's what it is, the original coil. But this right here, you can see the this is around the isolator right there. See that, how it's all chipped away? Yeah, so there's your contacts right there. So if that's all chipped away on that part, that plastic is chipped away, that's an epoxy sealant they put on there that they fill it with, and that's all broken up and chipped away. So that would definitely cause a problem, one you don't want to have. You want the engine to run as smooth as possible without any issues. So we're going to put this coil back on now. See if we can do this without any issues itself, right? This is the fun part, is getting this back on there. Nope, not there, bro. Funny things only goes one place. Let's get it on there, this one part. There it goes. That's it right there. Alright, that's it right there. So you can clearly see those marks I put on there. There's the white right there, and there's the red. And that's just going to make it a better reference when you put them wires on. Let's put you back in there. Oh, sugar. That wasn't good. I just dropped that wire. I'm not sure where I dropped it at. Yeah, the elusive thing of missing a part on the truck. I dropped the screw and I don't know where it went to. There it is right there. I know that years ago I was working on a Caterpillar C10 doing some head work, and man, I got the whole engine put together, and I guess start here first. How about that? Got the whole engine put together, and man, it looked good. And all of a sudden, I'm putting the valve covers back on, the rocker housing covers, and man, I dropped a 10mm socket. Man, a brand new snap-on socket of that. Them covers, and I never found that darn thing until about, I don't know, maybe 5 years later. I had to work on that engine again. I had to do some intake manifold work on it. And as I was taking all that stuff off, the intake, the turbo and everything, and the exhaust manifolds, it wasn't the intake, it was exhaust I had to work on. I put a new turbo on it. Took the turbo off, took the exhaust manifolds off to clean up the freaking gaskets. And just as I was down in there, man, lo and behold, what did I find? That socket I lost 5 years earlier. Kind of sweet remorse, I guess. You know, I already bought another one to replace it, but nonetheless, it's better than losing it at all. Now let me lift this up and get you out of the way so I can get this up in here without dropping it again. That goes right in that hole right there. You want to put it in by hand first. It's kind of like doing spark plugs. You know, you want to use a spark plug starter. You don't want to use your regular socket to put a spark plug in, because sometimes you can't feel. You want the spark plug to go in as easy as possible. So, I want to snug this up just like that. It feels pretty snug as a bug in a rug. I'm going to make this one as snug down as well. Yeah, it feels pretty good. Don't go too tight. And then here's your number 1 wire right here with the white on it. You put some of that dielectric grease on there. Keep that rust from corrosion getting on. That's what the dielectric grease does. Some folks use it everywhere. I don't, because I think you can, especially working on refrigeration units like I do, and even some diesels, dielectric grease can actually impact the connector and create pressure against it, which would be a negative pressure, and it won't actually seat up the way it's supposed to. So you don't want to use gobs and gobs of it. I know some guys that do that. They say, oh man, that dielectric grease is good for everything. And I was like, no, not really. I mean, you want to make sure you use it sparingly in some places. In other places, you want to use a lot of it. Like right here, it's a good idea to use a lot of it right here, because this is an area that gets a lot of moisture on it. And you want to make sure you keep those coil wires and plug wires as dry as possible in the best way you can. And they seal real well right there around that boot, but you want to make sure you have just a little bit extra protection around there. So you use that dielectric grease. Well, let me fire it up. Let's see how it sounds. If it sounds any better or any worse, hey, you never know. We'll go from there. Hang on, YouTubers. Man. Keys. See if it does any better here, no? Nice and easy that time. That was nothing to that. All right, well that's it. That's the job. I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and click and subscribe. Most of the time, what I do is train videos, but today I did this. So appreciate you all tuning in. Hope you have a great day.